It is the end of January 2018, and this is a P2P VPS project update. I've got a lot of things to cover in this update. First of all, I have been madly working on the website and giving it a complete metamorphosis. And so if you go to p2pvps.org, you can check this out. The site is very video centric. If you want to just click on these Get Started buttons, it'll take you to a menu, and you can right away it'll take you to what you're interested in. If you want to rent a VPS, we've got instructions in a video for that. Instructions for installing a client on your own device to rent that out on the market. The instructions for the server are pretty rough right now, but they're here, and you of course can always go to our Slack channel and communicate, or send us a message on Twitter and Facebook. Hope to see some people in there. So the website has gotten a major facelift. Want to give a shout out to Julie Dack, who was instrumental in that effort. This is her website, islandbusinessdesign.com. If you need a website for a small business, she is awesome. Highly recommend her. Here's some of her handiwork. So check out the website, p2pvps.org. Also, let's go and talk about the server. In the last video I talked about that I was getting a server. I wanted to show how to scale it. Here is the listing for the server I bought off eBay. It's a Z600 workstation. It has 12 cores and 24 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard drive. So in fact, I've got a breakdown right here. It costs $250 off eBay. Theoretically, if I had this thing fully rented out, it would take 3 months to pay back. So this is just an example. This is up and running. In fact, I want to show you a sneak peek of the store in OpenBazaar here. I've got 6 listings. I've got 3 VPSs all running on that server. So 3 of the 12 I have spun up. And then I also have 3 Raspberry Pis also connected to the network available for rent. So I'll come back to this here in a minute. But yeah, this is just a proof of concept. So not only is this software running on a small IoT device like Raspberry Pi, it's also running on a single desktop server that I've chopped up using VirtualBox and created 12 small servers, each with 2 gigs of RAM and 1 core. And they work pretty good. It's pretty snappy. And I'm happy to share this information with anybody who wants to duplicate this. But if someone wanted to get in this business and scale it, this is how it would work. You know, if someone really wanted to make money renting out computing devices for cryptocurrency. So this is an important thing to scale. I also like focusing on the Raspberry Pis because you can package it in such a way that you can give the physical device to someone, and they can plug it in. They don't need to know anything, and they can just start making cryptocurrency with it. And that's pretty handy for the non-technical people. But for the really technical people who are willing to invest in this, the server is how you scale. And so that's cool. That's going on. That is working. It's going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to prove it out. So if that's of interest to you, stay tuned. OpenBazaar RC5. So if you go to p2pvps.org and you go to the Get Started, you can follow the instructions on how to rent a VPS. There's also a walkthrough video that you can watch. But the OpenBazaar desktop client is still in testing, so the main client will not allow you to use Bitcoin Cash, and the store where you could go to rent one out is using Bitcoin Cash. So you need to go to this release candidate. There's a link right here, and it's this RC5. So they are going to release it any day, maybe in the next week or two. In fact, it's highly likely that by the time you see this video, the regular client, this note will be gone, and the regular client will support Bitcoin Cash, and you can just go there and rent it out. And so, yeah, let's just talk about this page here, the Rent a VPS page. So again, I went to get started and clicked on the instructions button for renting a VPS. These are the walkthroughs on how to download the OpenBazaar client, navigate to the OpenBazaar store. You can contact us on our Slack channel, and I'll send you $1 in Bitcoin Cash, and that will let you rent these. Right now they're by the hour, but I suspect in about 2 weeks I'm going to bump these up to by the day. It'll be the same price, 30 cents per day. I'm just doing it by the hour right now for testing purposes to speed things up. But yeah, I would love people to start renting them out. And once you rent one out, click on this Start a Web Page, and this will take you to one of the latest blog entries, which is a video walkthrough of how to get your own website running on one of these VPS rentals. Yeah, pretty cool. If you are a Node developer or know any JavaScript, this is pretty exciting stuff. And in fact, I want to start reaching out to the JavaScript developer community and encouraging them to use this and try this out and give me feedback on this. So hopefully you're a JavaScript developer who's watching this right now. Please give this a try. Follow basically the step-by-step instructions and run a VPS. I'm happy to send you some Bitcoin Cash to let you try out the rentals. Okay, back to the highlights. Renewals are working. It was a lot easier than I expected it to be. So you can go to P2P VPS.net. Let's see. .net. And this is where you go into the marketplace. You can click here to create an account. This is the device owner. Device owners go here to rent out their devices. But if you are renting a device and you want to renew the contract, you can go to /renew and put in the GUID of your device. So in here, the GUID is in the title of the listing. It's also, if you go to your sales receipt, it'll also be listed right there. And it's the string of characters. You put that in there. You hit create renewal listing, and within a couple minutes, a new listing will pop up in the store called a renew. It'll say renewal, and you can click on that, purchase it, and it will renew the expiration date before the VPS resets. So this is all rough, but it's exciting that for the first time it's functional. So would love to get some help with that. Plan on testing that quite a bit this next week. That's a big thing because people are going to want to renew the VPS that they're renting. Firewall and bandwidth. This is mostly an update for the Raspberry Pi targeted devices. I figured out how to install a firewall, and in fact, let me just show you where the instructions live if you want to check it out. So if you go to the P2P VPS GitHub repository, the stuff I'm talking about is in the client, and if you go to client, go to the Raspberry Pi, there's this docs directory, and then there's this firewall document, and that's this right here, and it talks about how to set up a firewall on the Raspberry Pi. And basically what it's doing is it's blocking the local LAN. So people who rent the device, it blocks the rental from talking to any other devices on your LAN, and that means they can't access it. They can't hack. Protects the local LAN. So that's a pretty important, neat feature. Again, would love some feedback on that. I'm sure there's other IP ranges I need to cover. I just haven't looked into that yet. Also, the instructions on setting up the flash storage version of the Raspberry Pi includes this new Wondershaper installation, and then when you boot up the rental, and that will bandwidth limit it to 256 kilobytes down and 128 kilobytes up. So that makes the rental safe to use. Let people use it as, say, a BitTorrent or an IPFS node where they're going to do a lot of file and download and upload. And that's cool because it lets you limit it. And in fact, if you go to one of the newer Raspberry Pis, I even call out. It's got 1 gig of RAM, it's got a 16 gig flash drive, and it's bandwidth limited. So it's the person renting the device. It's up to their discretion on what they do it, and obviously that will eventually get reflected into the price when we have a legit marketplace. But yeah, so the firewall prevents hacking, and the bandwidth limiting mitigates heavy usage. And let's see. Finally, we have the listing search, and this is just a demo. It's not integrated yet, but I'm working on it right now. So this shows all the listings in the store right now. So the store can be a little clunky because this is the default view. You can always click here and toggle it, but I don't think most people know that. And it's still like not very easy if you want to find a device and search by the reliability of its uptime, or how much memory. If you're running memory intensive applications, you need a certain amount of memory or a certain amount of disk space. You'll be able to do that. Click on this button and see a full description, and then click on this button and it will give you the URL that you need to copy and paste into your OpenBazaar client in order to bring up the listing and purchase it. And you can filter for things like like Pi for Raspberry Pi, so that filtered out all the VPSs. Or if you're looking for a specific name or a specific, you want to rent one out to yourself, use your own device, be both the seller and the renter. You can do that here and just create a listing, find it real quick, because I expect this listing here is going to get so large once people start getting in here and joining their devices to the network, that it's not really going to be usable. But this is going to be how we scale to the listings. So I'm working on implementing this into the .NET server right now, the P2P VPS.NET, not Microsoft.NET. So wow, that was a lot. Covered the updates to the website, talked about scaling by using a desktop server as opposed to a Raspberry Pi or other IoT device. We talked about OpenBazaar and how the Bitcoin Cash is just a release candidate. It's not the public version on the .org website right now, so be aware of that, but that's also going to change in the very near future. Renewals are working, so you go to the .NET/renewals to access that. Talked about some of the new firewall and bandwidth limiting features of the Raspberry Pi target, and this is also going to get rolled into the VM target as well for the servers. And then I'm implementing the new listing search on the P2P VPS.net website. I don't know what the URL for that will be yet, but that'll be in the next update. And of course, if you're watching this, please check in on the Slack channel. It's a pretty lonely place. Would love to start engaging with some people in the community and developers especially. Until next time.